sweating now. I feel weird because this is the second time.
The second time ever, or just the second time?
This is my second time ever. For the podcast. No, I'm actually. But this is like 90 episodes.
Why do you have a 80-ounce thermos? You're right next to your kitchen. I mean, like
thirsty,
you can just get a glass of water, like a normal human-sized glass. You got this fucking Sasquatch.
I'm so thirsty.
Fucking
dude.
Yeti bullshit.
Dude, I'm the biggest comedian that I know, bro. There's like one other person who's as big as me, and it's this guy named Jake Hovis, and he's bigger than me, bro. He's like wider than me, and he's also like 2 or 3 inches taller than me. He's from Louisville.
Yeah.
And like, there's not a lot of huge comics.
But my point is, like, you're at your house. I mean, you get free refills here, you know.
I know, dude, but I just, you know what? I think I try to do it so I can like force myself to drink water, because you know, like no one gets enough water ever. Like you just don't get it. Besides me now, right?
Of course, yeah.
This is
I
sponsored
get it.
by
I mean,
Growler.
You got to take off the price tag from TJ Maxx on the bottom of it, though. It's tacky.
Is it on there? Okay. The QR, the barcode still.
I'm just kidding. No.
Shout out TJ Maxx.
We were talking about Bob and Tom. A lot of fond memories from Bob and Tom.
Yeah, you were on their show all the time, right?
Oh yeah, it was.
I believe that's how my stepdad got wind of you when we went and saw you when I was this like 20 years ago.
Yes, let's talk about that. You gave me one of the best compliments I think I've ever had in this business. I mean, and it was at a time to where I really needed it too. Like I ran into you at the Funny Bone in Liberty. It was an open mic. My life has been pretty chaotic for the past 8 years. You know, I've been still, you know, I still do stand up. I mean, and kind of like the, you know, the black sheep of comedy, I guess, or whatever. But I've gone through a lot of problems. I mean, my ex attempted to rob the Bank of America high on crystal meth, and that's a true story. I will show you the video if.
So you were on the road, like working full time. You were
full
like the top of your
time,
career
man.
when this stuff.
It was my job. I raised.
When this happened.
Yeah, I raised 2 boys. I had a house, and it was a dream come true, you know. But you gave me one of the best compliments. You came up to me and you're like, I came up to you, and I said, "Can I have a light?"
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and I was like, I don't smoke.
You don't smoke, and you're vaping like weed or whatever, crack or whatever it is that you do.
It was crack. Yeah.
But and you're like, just to let you know, man, you're the reason that I got into comedy. I was like, oh my God, really? And
first live performance I ever saw, I was 18. So, like, I obviously had a lot of love for stand-up before that, just from seeing stuff on TV like Richard Pryor and, you know what I mean, like the Kings of Comedy, the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. There was stuff that I saw, Def Jam, as a kid and as a teenager, because that was like that era. But never did I see a live performance. So I went with my stepdad because my mom and stepdad wanted to go see you because they heard you on the Bob and Tom show.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So, and then you were in Dayton that weekend. And it was like a sold-out show, dude. You were absolutely murdering. And my stepdad even bought one of those T-shirts, the "Fuck You" T-shirts.
Sure.
Bought one of those, dude. I think we hung out with you in the parking lot for a minute, and you were just a super cool guy. And you really inspired me, bro. When I was young, this is like 20 years ago, to do stand-up. Like,
well, thank you, man. I
really
really do appreciate that, and it really meant a lot to me, more than you think. You know, it's. You know, I really have a passion for stand-up comedy. I love it, man. And I don't like to use the word hate, but I don't like the way that it's going with, and maybe I'm just an old man and a geezer or whatever. But it's so saturated with all this crap and everything, like, you know.
Talk more about the stuff you don't like in stand-up currently, because, like, you came up in a completely different era where you were making a living off this for a long time. This was your bread and butter. So like, what's changed in the landscape that's sort of like bothering you, or that you could see where people could be doing better, or just what's your motif for that?
Well, first of all, the censorship that is going on right now, as far as like
Self-censorship?
or just even censorship from like clubs and even open mics. You know, who goes to an open mic to where you have to sign a fucking waiver? You know, like
Yeah, that's happening right now.
That is happening right now, and
happening.
it's incredibly insulting. So, because it goes against everything that stand-up comedy stands for. Like, I mean, it is so ridiculous that you can't make fun of, you know, gay people, black people, you know, all this like LGBT stuff everything's so gay now, and it's like it is so gay. There's LGBTQ, whatever is that the letters? It should just be one letter, G, gay. Okay, it's just
Different levels of gay, basically.
it's all like being taken seriously, which I fucking can't stand.
Yeah.
You know?
I think people should be able to be whoever they want, but when they try to shove it down your throat, with the kids, that's where I get weird. Is like, I want people to. I'm like somewhere in the middle politically. I don't really give a shit either way, but I want people to be free, obviously. So like, I'm concerned with like the children though. It's like, are they old enough to make the kind of decisions that are being forced upon them at this age? And I know this is probably going to get us taken down from YouTube, but it's something that I do think about because I have kids. And
really, this is going to get us taken down from YouTube. I mean,
easily, dude, for talking about stuff like this. Easily, I'm serious, dude.
See, that's gay. Is
Yeah.
what that is.
Yeah,
That's really
dude,
gay.
that's what
You
I'm
know. One of my greatest lines is that I used for years and years is it was just on a whim. I don't know. I was kind of like bumbling around one night at an open mic, and I said racism is gay. You know, and this guy came up to me after the show. He's like, "That is brilliant."
Yeah.
And because I was just making fun of racism, and it ended up being like this catchphrase that I used for years and years. Like,
That's a T-shirt right there.
it is a good T-shirt, you know.
That's a great T-shirt, dude.
Again, going back to the fact that we have to fucking sell T-shirts to make ends meet is terrible.
Yeah.
You know.
That was that was before we got cut off, because people didn't know we had a little conversation before that, but that's very important as a comic, is like to merchandise and brand yourself. You have to become like this marketer. You have to be like the social media expert.
Yes.
So the landscape is so, like, when you walked in here, you saw like all these cameras and all this stuff going on. I had to like, dude, it takes me like 2 hours to set up this show. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot goes into stand up nowadays outside of just going on stage and telling jokes. Like,
And I know, and the sad thing is, you could be a marketing like genius and a half-assed comedian and do really well.
yes.
You know,
The business doesn't necessarily support comedy. It supports the business of comedy.
I know, and it's like, and I'm not bitter at all. Maybe a little, but
That's normal at your age, though, dude.
yeah, I'm 50 years old.
Yeah, that's normal.
Half a century sounds like I'm a fucking vampire or something like that. I mean, it's
You
a
look
weird,
great for 50, bro.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
I appreciate that, but it's like, you know, it was so fun back in the 90s, you know, where there wasn't any kind of restrictions or anything like that. I mean, you show up to these shows and you get like a talking to before the show of what you can and can't talk about,
Yeah.
which defeats the purpose of a live comedy show, because people want to hear controversial adult humor. Like, they don't want to, you know, no one goes out to a comedy show to be fucking spoon-fed. You know what I'm saying? Like, They want to hear, like, I think one of the stupidest, like, requests that I ever had from a comedy club was in Corpus Christi, Texas. Early, like, 2001, 2002, or whatever. And I show up to the club, and Rich Miller booked it, who is Dennis Miller's brother. Great guy. He used to book all these great clubs. But I show up and the manager pulls me aside before the show. He goes, "Don't do any Selena jokes."
Had she just died?
Well, Selena's from Corpus Christi, and she's like a saint.
I got you.
And she was murdered. You know, I mean, you saw the movie with Jennifer Lopez or whatever. I don't know if you did,
murdered,
but
no.
Yeah, she got shot by her assistant or whatever. It was a terrible story, but I was just thinking, like, who the fuck does Selena jokes anyways? Like, I mean, who would make fun of something tragic like that? You know, but it's like,
someone had to have done it for them to tell you, right?
Yes.
It's almost like they don't put the sign up,
you know,
no shoes, no service.
So 3 Selenas walk into a bar and all this, and you're like, who the fuck? Who the fuck does jokes about a terrible fucking?
That's the best premise you can come.
Right? I was like,
3 Selenas walking.
You know, like, of course I'm not going to make fun of Selena.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
That's fucking rich.
And that was before everything was so, you know, so gay that it is now. Like, I mean,
this was the 90s, basically?
No, it was like early 2000s, like 01, 02, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like, yo, you can do 9/11 jokes, but don't fucking talk about Selena.
Dude, I don't know if this has ever happened to you when you were coming up, but I was out of town. I won't say where, but I was featuring, and I was at this club all weekend, and we did the Thursday show, and I kind of bombed, and then the headliner crushed it after I had bombed, and it was like easy pickings for them. And so Friday night, I came back, and I was like real fired up because I had a bad set the night before, and I crushed. I did okay. I don't want to say
I killed. I crushed. I fucking murdered.
Did the best I could.
I murdered,
and I think I did well, and the headliner did not that night, Friday night, and so
you smoked the headliner.
Smoked them, and so we were hanging out after, and they said, "Hey man, you know, I really like the stuff you were doing on Thursday. Why don't we just stick with what you were doing on Thursday night, and could you not maybe do what you did tonight?" And I was like, "What?" Like,
oh yeah.
I was like, "What, you want me to tone it down?" Like, has that ever? I'm just saying, has that ever happened to you? Because
yeah. I worked with Dane Cook several times actually, and he pulled me aside one night in L.A. and he was like, "Can you not do any jokes about cops?" I was like, you can't take an entire premise.
Yeah.
Like, it was just the weirdest thing. And I was like, and I of course I did, you know, what he asked. I mean, because I have other stuff I don't have to do.
You're a professional.
Well, sure. But but it was just fucking weak for him to go, you know, don't do any jokes about this or that or fucking graham crackers or whatever the fucking premise is. Like, you know, work around. You should always, as a headliner, you should always be able to work around whatever the guy in front of you is doing. You're headlining.
Yeah.
You know, apparently you have the Guinness World Record of most hours on stage or whatever. I think he does, or I don't know.
I feel like the only way that is like acceptable for me, at least, is if you're stepping on something specifically that they have a longer bit about or a big. Because they don't want you to talk about the same exact topic. I could see that. I could see if you're like, I'm doing that premise, so don't do it on this particular show. It's not like, was it like that case? Did he have something?
Yeah, he did this whole chunk of material about police officers, but it's like, dude, everyone makes fun of the police.
So he wants the surprise element, basically, right?
You know, it would be different if I was doing jokes about the band Police. You know, that's like a specific, you know, band was, I don't even know. You're probably too young to remember the Police.
Oh, you mean the actual band?
Yeah.
The Police. Yeah.
Was Stang and okay.
Yeah, I've heard I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, Roxanne.
That would have been funny if you would have went up and did a bit about that and not actual Police.
Exactly. Like,
and then he would have been like, "What do you say? Like, what do you say? It's the band, the Police.
It's the band, the Police.
That's the only way to get out of it." Yeah.
At the time, I didn't even think about that. It would have been funny.
Yeah. So that happens sometimes, huh? I think more than people like outside people that just come to watch the shows.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know if people even give a shit about how the chili is made, but that's what the show is about.
Yeah. I've never ever once went up to a guy that was opening up for me and said, "Don't do this joke or don't do that joke." Work around whoever you're working with. That's why you should watch every comedian that you work with.
Yeah, especially
so
if
you
you're
can
gonna have
prepare
them on the road with you.
You're
like,
they're opening up. They have a limited amount of material, so you as a headliner should be able to work around whoever the fuck is opening up for you.
Yeah. Dane Cook level too.
He did level off. That guy. He had a lot of bad things happen to him. His brother-in-law, I think his brother-in-law.
No, his actual brother. I just listened
his
to
actual
a clip earlier today of this. Yeah.
Stole millions of dollars from him, man.
Yeah, dude. And he was a corrections officer too.
He was
how
really?
How wild is that he gets his brother out of this prison to go and work for him, pays him more than his salary, whatever, like makes it sweet for his brother. And then his brother ends up back in that same prison doing time after he embezzled all this.
See, I didn't know that. Wow.
Pretty wild.
Yes. It's
full
crazy.
Circle, dude.
It is full circle.
It's full circle.
So let's talk about a very, I don't want to bring it down or anything like that, but I just want to acknowledge real quick that we all lost a very, very special man a couple days ago, and I had a rough day yesterday because of this, and I lashed out at a few people, and I apologize for that. I'm not going to mention any names, but I didn't.
Should I say his name?
It's stupid. But
I told him last night, I was like, I'm shouting you out on the podcast.
It's okay, man. Let's stop saying that you fucking murdered or killed or so-and-so murdered or killed. You didn't really fucking murder or kill anything, okay? You had a good set. Fuck off.
Yeah, so for you as like a veteran comic, you kind of see that as like
it's just
taking a shot or like it's over. How do you say it's like over? It just looks like you're egotistical in a way.
Yeah, it's like driving a fucking Corvette. Okay.
Yes.
You got a small dick, big fucking deal with it. Okay. Like you don't have to fucking say that you had all this greatness. When,
because doing comedy already is
knock
cool.
it off.
I see what you're saying. Doing comedy is like I drive a Corvette. You're like different than the other people that you kind of grew up with or that you're on social media with. So it's like you kind of are already doing this cool thing. Why do you have to say and over embellish that I'm the shit?
Yeah, big deal, man.
I hear you.
No one fucking cares. Okay. But I don't even want to get into that. It's
I understand though. You were upset over the.
It's self-promotion. Tweet all you want, and that's another thing about the social media now. Everyone wants all these followers and shit like that. Don't fucking follow me, okay? Leave me the fuck alone, okay? I don't want any followers. It's creepy, fucking hashtag and all this horse shit.
I always ask people, I'm like, go make sure you go follow the guests. But this time, guys, don't
fucking follow me.
Just listen to this.
Not at all. Yeah,
do not follow Kenny Smith.
I don't care. Okay, and I know you should. And was like, oh, you're not going to get anywhere in this. But I've already fucking had my greatness. Okay, I lived in Malibu, fucking California, and had all this money, and it was fun and everything. And so, I'm.
Do you think a guy like you can get all that back since you've already done it once and you know the business model for success? Or do you think it's going to take you think the road is longer now? Because I'm under the impression that like someone with your skill level, if you got on the right track and you got yourself cleaned up, you could be there again, dude. I think that right now all you really need, dude, is that social media and that stuff that you hate. because that's the new landscape. But there's so many guys that you came up with, like the Robert Kellys and all these
Sure.
people that you were on the circuits with them. All they're doing is they got some young guy, like whoever, some fucking Jewish or Chinese kid or some, you know what I mean, that looks like me, doing their podcast and like filming their clips. And I think that you're just a few steps away, dude, from like coming back and being the person that you were. I'm just saying, do you have those thoughts too? Do you share that sentiment?
I most likely I will be working at Trader Joe's for the rest of my life. That's
the end of that.
That's where I'm going.
Never
man.
meet your heroes.
No,
Never.
You know what? I and you are 100% correct. I really have to jump on board with the social media and all this fucking gay shit, like, because it is all gay.
Yeah, dude, but I think
it's
you
so
might.
gay.
I think you might have to do it, dude.
I know. I gotta.
If comedy is what you want to do, it's like you took some time off, and I want to talk about that too, because like you made it, bro. Like a lot of people would say, they would look at Kenny Smith, especially 7 or 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and they'd be like, wow, like I want to be like that guy. Like he's making 6 figures a year, he's traveling all over the country, he's doing whatever he wants, he's hanging out with all these famous people, like. You have all these connections already, man, and I think you need to probably just figure out that like there's no machine anymore. Like all that Hollywood shit, all having like somebody produce your special, that's all done, bro. It's all done in house now.
It is, and it's I accept that, you know. I just don't. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to like. I accept it, but I don't know if I want to accept it. I don't know. It's weird. It's
a lot of work, dude.
It's not really a lot of work because it's really simple. Like what we're doing right now is kind of a simple setup. You got a couple tripods.
Yes.
We're sitting here. You got a couple cameras set up. You got a laptop. I mean, it's not that hard to reach all like
millions of people.
Millions of people.
Literally, yeah.
And I just I remember comedy was simple and fun, and there was no restrictions, and I mean, you got to fuck the waitresses at the comedy club. I mean, no one fucking looked at you sideways for doing that, you know.
I'm not condoning that, but
I'm just saying that. I mean, it was fucking fun, man. And now it's just like, it's like this politically correct woke horse shit is just overinflating the sensitivity of people that need to just laugh at everything. I mean, it's
this is the thing too, dude. There's other markets that you can reach outside of like, because I realized that too. Like my brand of comedy isn't necessarily like best for around here and some of the shows that I do and the people that I play for. You know what I mean? So, and I see the difference when I do like a crowd that's like country bumpkins versus like these people that are far left, and there's really no in between here in the Midwest in Ohio. It's like it's hard to find that in between. So I think there are markets like that though where people still want that kind of comedy, and like traveling to Austin and seeing the kind of scene down there, and also just being online every day and seeing the current landscape of like how anybody from anywhere can still meet these other demographics all over the place with stuff like Instagram and YouTube, and just being aggressive and consistent with the amount of social media that you're posting. It's like, it's obviously you don't want to post just everything all the time, but there has to be some sort of like scale, because it has to be quality, right? You don't want to just be pumping bullshit out to everybody all day, but you do have to be aggressive with it. And I don't know. I see a lot of things happening, man. Like for just Dayton comedy in general, like there are a lot of people that are starting to produce shows independent shows and podcasts. There's more mics than ever. Like,
there is a lot of mics in Dayton, and I'm proud of that.
it's a good scene right now, man.
But the shitty thing is, like, I can't go to any of these mics because I've it's probably my own fault, but I've created all these like people that fucking despise me because I speak my mind and all this kind of stuff, like, and it's just fucking lame, dude. Like, you know,
Well, I heard.
Take it for what it is. It's comedy. You know, it's not fucking serious. You know, lighten the fuck up and quit being such a fucking pussy. You know, that's what I wish that would happen with most comics. Like, quit being a fucking, you know, quit being gay. Okay, stop it. All right. I mean, just lighten the fuck up. Do your, you know, work on your act and have an open mind and have fucking fun, man. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
You know, it really is supposed to be fun.
Yeah, I think it is, dude. Like, it should be. And there, man, there's just there's guardrails up now, and
yeah, like in a bowling alley. You know what?
Yeah.
Learn how to fucking bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, and you shouldn't need some railing to come up to hit the fucking pins. If you get a gutter, you get a fucking gutter.
Yes, that's always my argument too. I think that a lot of people who are saying certain things and getting mics canceled or getting people to cringe, it's because it's inexperienced people trying to say these outlandish things because they heard someone else do it on stage, and they don't understand that you have to build up a rapport with the audience first before you say something like that. Or you have to also be at a skill level where you can deliver it properly and not make it seem offensive, because that's just, there's a difference between saying something crazy.
It's technique, man.
Yeah,
it's all
exactly.
technique, you know? And that's the key to comedy, having good timing and the technique and also the likability to be able to read a crowd and do the jokes at the appropriate time. It's, you know, it's like fucking chemistry, man. I mean, there's a certain amount of I say chemicals when I speak like jokes, but there's a certain amount of jokes that you do at a certain level at a certain time to make sure that it works. And that only comes from pure experience.
Mm-hmm.
And
reading the room.
And yes, you know.
Yeah, it does. It's so a lot of people who are messing it up for guys like us who are trying to get stage time all the time and work on this, because you know you have to be constantly coming up with new stuff, and it becomes difficult when these other people are throwing wrenches in the gears, you know. So we got about 2 minutes here, and we could take a break real quick and then do another episode, do another 30 minutes, and we can get into we could talk about Rest in Peace, which we touched on it earlier. I don't know if we said it or not, but
yeah, it might have been cut off by your. You got a Polaroid here. It's
I know,
weird that a Polaroid actually has video. I've never seen a Polaroid with
that's
video.
my backup camera. It is a little dinky thing, but it looks all right.
Just kidding.
It's all right. This one is I need to get some more lenses that match up to this one, so they do all look better. But hey, you know what? This is a fucking low budget. This is a low budget thing, dude. It's just me in my den and
your fucking 80-ounce thermos.
Yeah, I always have people messaging me. They're like, "Where do you shoot the podcast?" I'm like, "No, no one knows. I converted a room in my house into a studio."
It's actually where if you had another fern on the right of you, you would be like Zach Galifianakis between two ferns.
Well, I kind of am, because there's one behind you.
Oh, there is.
So yeah, we can only afford two. Fake plants are very expensive. We're gonna get more pictures up on the wall too eventually,
hysterical.
But those also.
Oh, and you have Dave Chappelle after he got big.
Yeah.
Not famous, but actually physically big.
Physically, yeah, that is a bigger picture.
So
of him,
funny.
yeah.
Fucking guy gained 100 pounds after he stopped smoking crack. And no, I'm kidding. I don't know if he's.
That's a good way to end it. All right, we're gonna take a quick break.